Hey guys, this is Melody, and today we're working on a watercolor painting. This is not my usual kind of thing. While I do enjoy watercolors, I would not call myself an expert in any way whatsoever. And today we're working on a landscape, which again is not something I've done very much of, but it is something I've been wanting to learn more about, so it works out that my mom actually commissioned this piece. I don't know that I've really seriously drawn mountains except the one time in college, but it was graphite pencil, and I drew so many tiny trees that I think it drove me insane by the end of it. But we don't have nearly as many trees in this one, which is nice. I did do a thumbnail for this because I wanted to practice and get an idea of what I liked as far as painting mountains and what techniques worked for me and which ones didn't. The thumbnail in this case was an 8x10 painting, but this final piece is 12.5 by 17, so it is quite large, especially compared to the tiny little things that I normally do, because I typically work at largest on an 8x10. In this video, you're going to notice that there's some skips where obviously some time has gone by where you didn't see everything that happened in this painting, and that's because this painting took like 4 or 5 hours, and my laptop would throw a fit if I tried to have that much video footage in this video and tried to store it on my laptop. So I did not try to do that. I took little pieces out that were just repetitive and not that interesting, like the sky. While I do enjoy the sky, I did not think it was necessary to show you every little bit, so there will be little gaps missing here and there. While I don't normally work on such large pieces, it was really nice, and for the one art class I took in college, we worked on huge paper. I don't remember the size, but it was like 3 or 4 times as large as this painting, and I just remember kind of dreading it because it was so much space to cover, but also loving it because you can get a lot more detail in and you can see what you're working on a lot better than when you do tiny little pieces. It's just easier to work and get in there. And I kind of felt the way about this piece. I've been getting used to doing such small things that doing this felt a little bit intimidating because it was large, but also nice that I had so much space to work, and it was nice to experiment with different watercolor brushes. So now that I've touched a little bit on the actual painting, I wanted to talk a little bit about commissions themselves. I typically have commissions open, so if you're interested in something, message me. And a lot of artists are similar in that if you're interested in getting commission from them, a lot of times all you really have to do is message them. Obviously, if they're a big gallery painter or something and they sell their pieces for $1 million, okay, yeah, that's not gonna work. But a lot of the artists online, from what I have seen, if you're interested in a commission, you can message them and they might be able to work it out with you. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say that they're not taking any commissions at the moment because their schedule's already full, or they just don't have the time for it at the moment and they're not working on that because they're working on a project. And if that happens, just be kind and accept it. That's how it is. Artists are humans too, and we only have so much time in the day. And some of the YouTube artists or artists that are online have jobs. Like, I have a full-time job, so when I take commissions, I tell the people it might take a couple weeks because depending on what I have planned on the weekend, my weekend is typically the only time I get to work on commissions, unless it's a really small piece that I can do after work. But a lot of times after work I'm tired, and if I paint or draw, I want it just to be something to help me relax. And when I do commission, while the actual process may be relaxing, I am doing it for somebody, so I want it to be good and I want my mind to be focused on what I'm doing. Obviously, the price of a commission is going to vary from artist to artist. Those who spend more time on their drawings might charge you a little more, or those who are super well known might be able to charge you more. They can get away with it. Those who are just starting out will probably be cheaper, or those who have a more simplistic style that is less demanding or less time consuming. But it's quite rude to make comments, as I've seen people do in artist alleys and stuff, look at someone's work and say, oh, they shouldn't be selling their stuff for that price, it isn't good enough. It can be quite harsh to an artist. I've never been in this position, but I can just imagine how it would feel. Also, don't expect things for free. I feel like I've seen a lot of stuff like this on Twitter, or people have posted it on Facebook, of someone going into their DMs and asking for something and wanting a commission, and then when money is brought up, they say, oh, I thought you could just do it for free, or why are you so expensive? And, you know, even artists like me that don't do this as a living, I have another job, it is a full-time job, we're not necessarily going to do something for you for free. If you are a family member or a close friend and it's a small doodle, maybe, especially if you haven't really done commissions or you haven't explored this side of your art yet and you're happy doing that, then that's fine. But I personally am at a point where I'm done doing stuff for free. I've done things for friends, and I feel like in order to value myself and my time and my art, I need to start charging for it, and so that's what I've started doing. I also don't think you should feel guilty about asking for money, because they're requesting of you a service, and many times they're requesting a service of you that's going to take you several hours of your time. And I know when I was in school, the mentality was, I'm a student, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not even going to art school, so why would I request someone pay this of me? But I needed that time to study. I didn't have time to be doing extra stuff for people on top of the things that I was already doing. And now that I have a full-time job, maybe I have a little bit more time at home in as much as I don't have to study in my free time, but I have a full-time job and that can get exhausting. When I'm home, I want to be home and I want to relax, and if I'm going to do something extra, I feel like I should get paid for it. And you know, that's fair, that's a valid reasoning. So if you are an artist, no matter where you are on your journey, don't be afraid to request money if somebody wants you to do a commission for them. But I think part of the reason it's also difficult sometimes as an artist to request that you be paid for your work is imposter syndrome. Especially when you're at the point where you don't feel like you've made it, I guess. And I mean, I'm not at that point. I probably never will be, because I'm a perfectionist and I feel like no matter what I do, I can improve upon it. I can do better, I can be better. But imposter syndrome is basically that feeling that you don't belong and you don't fit in. And I think as an artist, it's really easy to feel that way. If you look on YouTube and you see millions of artists, and on Instagram, all these artists that do work that you believe is so much better than yours, and you don't belong in that crowd, so why should you charge? But like I said before, you're spending your time, and if somebody values your art enough to want you to do something for them, then they should pay for it. If they value your art and they really, really like it, then they will offer to pay, and if they don't, then clearly it doesn't mean that much to them. And I'm definitely not saying never do anything for free, never do anything as a favor, because that's definitely not where I'm going with this. But I don't feel that it's fair for someone to want you to do something for them that takes hours and not think that you might want compensation for that or deserve compensation for that. Anyway, I'm done with my little rant there. I feel like it's something that's talked about a lot in the art community, but it can never be said more. There's still so many people asking for free stuff. Anyway, this is how the painting turned out. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, let me know. Definitely give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one.